Hey everybody, it's Friday. Yeah, the end of the week. Thank God, right? Oh, I've got some good ones for you today. I know I say that every day, but today you really need to hear this. Good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here. That Journey chick on Instagram. It's Friday. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Friday dance. Friday dance. You think I'm on Broadway, right? Do the kicks. Do. Oh, the other leg doesn't go up that high. I'm going to pay for that later anyway. It's Friday. What do you guys got planned for the weekend? Me? Not a thing. Not a thing. I should plan something. It's just too darn hot to go outside, so I will probably be here working on this painting. I need to kit up my new painting for the event. The Great Escape. Look, all these drills. The one I'm doing is called Wool Gathering. Look at all the pretty colors. Blues and greens and pinks. Pink. Oh my God. And we're going to bling it out a little. Yeah. Because, you know, what do you need on a farm where there's sheep? Bling. Right. All right, so I got this back out again. Yesterday I put away the paints. It angsted me to do that, but I did it because I was listening to the January 6th hearing. Oh my God. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to not just shake my head. Like, seriously? Seriously? Yeah, I said I wasn't going to say anything. we don't do politics on this channel. Okay, moving on. So, I worked on the trees here. The trees. I put in some ABs there. I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of shimmery, shiny. Yeah, because that's where the snow is in the trees. Oh, so gorgeous. So you can see kind of where I got to fill in here, the spaces. So then that part will be done and I can move along. If I finish, I have two sections on the bottom. If I finish those before August 1st, then I'll have done just about half of this painting. I know, this is a huge painting. I know. I can hear you. But I'm coming back to it. I promise you. I'll come back to it because I love this painting. All right. Today is National Panouche Fudge Day. I know yesterday was junk food. I tend to gravitate towards the food days because I talk about what I know, you know. So panouche is it tastes like maple, but there's no maple in it. It's got sugar and all that good stuff, but it has brown sugar. It's made with brown sugar instead of regular sugar, and that brown sugar gives it kind of that mapley flavor. It's a lighter fudge, and then people add pecans into it, and oh, so good. Yeah, if you ever want to try a great fudge, try panouche. And I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. A fly flew into my ear this morning. Now it itches. I don't think he stayed there. I would hear him, but it just kind of was weird. Outside, like when the walk today was a disaster. A disaster. We couldn't find Stitch. So I just kept going, and then the German Shepherd was out, and I think it's because I went a little later in the day, and then the lady with her dog was out, and then the neighbor was out, and Tootsie was just losing her mind. And of course, when all that and the garbage man is coming, he's running around the neighborhood, well, driving around the neighborhood, and Stitch is like panicked. He's like, I'm not coming. I'm just going to stand here in the front yard so I can move to safety if I need it. And so that's what he did. I'm going to turn on the light pad and pick a color. Oh, I know what color we can do. The ABs. The number 3. It's just a regular resin diamond, green resin diamond with a iridescent coating. So it makes it sparkle a little bit more than usual. I don't know where my phone is. Anyway. Plus, I'm late for work. I came home from work yesterday because I left at 4. And I told my coworker, who always shows up for late for work, I said, if the doctor, my boss comes around, just tell her that I could not sit in this chair one more second. I was in so much pain that I had to leave. If she wants to dock my pay, let her dock my pay. I don't really care. I got to get out of here. My hip was killing me. And my elbow, of course. My elbow always hurts. But I do have a doctor's appointment here coming up soon. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. I'm going to my regular doctor for my blood work, and then my psychiatrist. I have an ortho appointment on the next week, the 28th. And I'm going to tell him, I'm not leaving here until you figure out what's wrong with me and give me a bunch of steroid injections. Just get out the steroid and the needles and start plugging away. Yeah. Oh, goodness, I got trays everywhere. I'm a mess here. Let's talk about the Nicholas Cruz trial. So yesterday, they were only there for a half a day. Yeah, I don't know. The judge had something else she had to do in the afternoon, so yesterday was a half a day. So they put on a person that was employed by Subway. And he happened to be working the afternoon of the shooting, and he didn't know about the shooting when Nicholas Cruz came in to buy his IC. So Nicholas wants a blend of cherry and blue raspberry. So he pays for it. So I have I snapped some photos there, and I'll show you him picking up his IC and just kind of sauntering away. He's like, he doesn't have a care in the world. He's just there to buy an IC. Then he goes to the McDonald's, and then we get area supervisor, because he is the one that went and took the footage. They have to lay a foundation to show the footage. So he is the one that went and got the footage for the McDonald's for that afternoon, showing Nicholas Cruz coming into the McDonald's. Then they put on John Wilford. I thought he worked at the McDonald's. He did not work at the McDonald's. He was a student at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. His sister was too. When this happened, he was in a different building. He thought it was a fire alarm. He said, we all went out, we left the building, we filed out the way we're supposed to. We go out to the location that we're supposed to. The teacher took attendance. And then he said, right about that time, the police came and told us all just to leave. Just leave. He tries to call his sister. His sister also went to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was one of the deceased. Or she was injured. She was either injured or she was one of the deceased. I don't recall. But meanwhile, he keeps trying to get a hold of his sister. She's not answering her phone. So he gets his mom, and his mom says, I'll pick you up at the McDonald's. Just walk over to the McDonald's. I'll pick you up from there. So he goes to the McDonald's. Now we see the footage, the surveillance footage from the McDonald's. He sits down in a booth, didn't buy anything, but he's waiting for mom. And he's sitting there waiting for mom. And Nicholas Cruz just casually walks into the McDonald's and sits down in the booth with him. Like they're old friends. Yeah. Meanwhile, John says, I don't know this guy. Who is he? And he says, but it was such a weird day. It was like the least weird thing that had happened that day. So they're just like exchanging pleasantries, so to speak. Nobody's really talking. And John was on and off the phone, trying to get a hold of his sister. And Nicholas Cruz says, can I get a ride home with you? Because John says, my mom's here, I'm leaving. And he's like, no. And then, so he gets up and he starts to walk off. And Nicholas follows him. He throws his icy cup in the garbage on the way out, and then you see the two of them in the parking lot, and he's still insisting, can I get a ride with you? Come on, and John says he was being kind of forceful, and he's like, no, man, I don't even know you. You can't have a ride. So on their way home, John and his mother, still not knowing what happened to his sister, he actually sees Nicholas Cruz walking in his neighborhood. It's right after that a police officer, who is the next person to take the stand, he is in that neighborhood as well. He thought, well, they've seen him at the McDonald's. Dispatch already had been notified that he had been spotted at the McDonald's. This officer figured, well, he's probably not at the McDonald's anymore, so let me go in a direction he might have gone. And he goes into this neighborhood, the same one that John Wilford lives in, and he finds Nicholas Cruz. So he tells him to get out on the ground, points the gun at him. All kinds of officers, backup officers come, and they arrest Nicholas Cruz. Now, there was a lot of argument by the defense counsel that, why are we showing this? Why is it relevant? Blah, blah, blah. And the judge is like, she's letting everything in. She's pissed at Nicholas Cruz. And I would be too. Nope, it's coming in. We get to see it. It's relevant. So, then we had a couple more students. One student, oh, bless his heart, he was in the hallway and he was trying to get out of the hallway, but the doors were locked, and meanwhile Nicholas Cruz kept shooting him, and he shot his ankle off. So he manages to escape, get down 3 flights of stairs and out to a baseball field before he kind of collapses, and they get him some help. But needless to say, he had to have multiple surgeries. I think he said he had 5 surgeries, but they had to keep grafting, taking skin grafts and skin and muscle from other parts of his body to recreate his ankle so he would have something to walk on. One more student that took the stand, and he was also injured. He was shot in the arm. He had radial nerve damage that to this day he still has to wear a brace to support that arm. What, honey? Hi, good morning. What's going on? Come on, you want to come up with Mommy? Why are we meowing? Come on. You want to get in your basket? Come on. Oh, I can't get you. You're too far down here. Here, you want in your basket? There you go. There you go. Is that what you want? Oh, he's always got to be part of my fun. He's my little mascot. Oh no, something's caught his eye up there. Oh dear. Oh dear, what could the matter be? What is he doing? Oh, it's... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, is that interesting? Yeah, that is really interesting. Hey. You took it away, Mom. He's after this. This is some of my cover minders that he's trying to get a hold of. All right, I'll let him mess around with the blocks. He's going to knock them off. Look at him. He's going to knock them off. This is their favorite pastime. Pearl likes to knock over all my gnomes, my llamas, my alpacas, and Stitch just, Stitch. Anyway, Stitch is Stitch. So, like I said, half a day. Then we get the sentencing hearing of Kevin Eastman. Now, I hope by now that you've caught up, or maybe you haven't caught up, and if you haven't caught up, shut this video off here and go catch up before you listen to this part of the video, because this was... Are you ready? Have you shut it off yet? Okay. I don't encourage people to shut my videos off, but if you haven't caught up, then you're not going to want to hear what happened at the sentencing hearing. Yes, I gave you enough time. All right. First, we get the family members that get to come up and speak. At a sentencing hearing, we know, first of all, there's no death penalty in Colorado. So we know he's going to get life, and I predicted he would get life consecutively. So But first, you get to hear from the family members. The father of Scott Sessions, who, and I will put a picture of Scott here. He was a musician in Colorado in a band called the Movers and the Shakers, and he had lots and lots of friends, and they were in the courtroom, and they all wanted to speak, but several of them did speak. So Scott Sessions' father was first, and he said, I had to tell my wife, who was on her deathbed, she had months to live, that her son was murdered. He said the first thing she said was, "Who?" And that was the last words she ever spoke. She died 2 months later. Her last words were, "Who?" Oh my God. Then we hear some other people, an ex-girlfriend who he had been with for 5 years, and they were all kind of forgiving of Scott Eastman, but were critical of the defense for taking the stance that Scott Sessions sexually assaulted Heather Frank. They thought, that was in really poor taste that they would make that argument, that Scott Sessions would never do that to someone. He was just not that kind of person. And for them to make that argument was just beyond poor taste. An attorney comes up and, oh my God, my pinky's. So an attorney comes up and the judge recognizes him and they say hello, and he says, "I'm not here as a lawyer today. I'm here as a musician." He was also a trumpet player, and they would play together. And he says, "We played together so often and we knew each other so well that we could harmonize without even talking to each other." And they all said what a great person he was, and blah, blah, blah. There were probably 5 or 6 people that got up and spoke. One guy that got up, he clearly an Elvis impersonator. He had the whole Elvis hair going on, and he has a band, an Elvis impersonation band, and he said Scott would come play with him sometimes. So I thought that was so cute. But then the family members of Heather Frank came up. Her son spoke. And he's very young, and he did the best that he could, but he did speak about the loss of his mother, and how he hasn't forgiven Scott Sessions. He hasn't forgiven Kevin Eastman. He hopes that he'll be able to one day, but right now he just can't. Now the other 2 brothers were not there, and then there was a niece on the phone that spoke about the loss of her sister. So then the prosecution gets up. Well, the defense gets up, and the defense attorney, she got up and she was allowed to speak, and she said, this man has been nothing but kind, compassionate to myself and my fellow attorney, and always putting our needs before his. He's the sweetest man I've ever met. And you could tell she felt that way genuinely. So she goes back, and the entire time this is going on, Kevin Eastman is just not showing any emotion, none. Just, it amazes me how these defendants either, and he didn't say anything obviously because he's got appeals that he's never going to run its course, but how do they just sit there with a straight face when all these people are lamenting what you did? And if you didn't do, how can you sit there with a straight? I don't know. So at the end, the prosecutor gets up and he says, "I'd like to end this. I don't really want to talk a lot because I want to leave the memory of Scott Sessions the way the people have expressed it today. But someone did give me this film, and I would like to show it." So he shows this film. And immediately, I'm like, tears come into my eyes. It was a video of Scott Sessions playing taps on his trumpet. And the prosecutor explained that every Memorial Day, and sometimes, during the week, if he didn't have anything to do, he would stop at the cemetery to honor the dead, and he would play taps. Like the ladies of the defense council were crying, they're wiping their makeup, and I was like, oh, it took my breath away. Beautiful, by the way. Beautiful, beautiful trumpet player. My goodness. Because taps is not an easy song to play. It really isn't. So, wow. Anyway, the sentencing. The judge, too, says, I don't want to belabor this because I want to leave it with what the families have spoken and the friends. But, sir, you will never get out of prison. Never. So he sentenced him to life without the possibility of parole for the murder of Scott Sessions, life without the possibility of parole as to the murder of Heather Frank, and they will run consecutively, which means after he dies, he still has another life sentence. 2 life sentences. And then he gives him 12 years for tampering with a deceased body as to Scott Sessions, 12 years for tampering with a deceased body as to Heather Frank, 18 months for tampering with physical evidence of Scott Sessions, and 18 months for tampering with physical evidence of Heather Frank. So should he survive 2 life sentences, he will still have 27 years to serve because all of it was consecutive. Now, sometimes they will run everything concurrent, because you're only going to live one life. But this guy was going to make darn sure that if he got off on any of these charges through an appellate process, he still had the other charges. Right. I've done no crafting today. No, well, I did put the 3s down. I did put those ABs down. Anyway, I gotta get to work because it's Friday. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What happened this day in history? Today is the birthday of little Prince George. Who's that? I know. That's what I said. Well, Prince William and Princess Kate gave birth to their first child, George, on this day in history. So, happy birthday, George. Yes. All right. It is a short show today. Trial was only half a day. Sentencing was only a couple of hours. So today it'll be back to the Nicholas Cruz trial. Hopefully next week they're going to start the suitcase trial and we'll have something else to talk about besides this mass school shooting, because it's honestly, it's disgusting what he did, that kid. Just disgusting. Anyway, guys, I will see you. Don't forget, my good buddy Mickey Sunshine Creates. She's going to be live tonight at 6:30 Central, and she's always a hoot. She doesn't know what to talk about, and then you end up having a great time in her lives. She'll usually talk about me because we're besties, but then I will be live at 11 a.m. Central Time Sunday. Please stop by. My good friend Robert is going to teach me how to knit. So that should be fun. So take care, everybody, and I will see you around this weekend. Love you all. Bye.